Its wisdom is profound and far-reaching, unfathomable. Wow. I mean, just take a second to really let the weight of that statement sink in. It's a striking quote from the Shrangama Samadhi Sutra, and honestly, it perfectly sets the stage for the profound spiritual mystery we're diving into today. Like, what exactly is this wisdom? Why is it considered so unimaginably vast? And I guess the biggest question, is it totally out of our reach, or is there actually a way for us to grasp it?
Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating handout that dives deep into the teachings of Linming Shang, specifically exploring those deep concepts found right there in the Shrangamama Samadhi Sutra. A big goal of these materials, and really the whole point of sharing them here to propagate the Dharma on this channel, is to completely demystify these incredibly profound Buddhist concepts. The text we're analyzing lays out what it calls a clear, direct, and completely accessible path to spiritual liberation. And the best part? It's for absolutely anyone who wants to learn. Which brings us to arguably the most practical, pressing question you can ask when reading these ancient texts. How do ordinary people, people like you and me, living busy, chaotic, sometimes super stressful modern lives, actually attain this unfathomable wisdom of the Buddha? Because let's face it, we aren't ancient masters meditating in some secluded mountain cave for decades on end. We've got real-world struggles, jobs, families, the whole shebang. The gap between our daily reality and that ultimate enlightened state just feels, well, incredibly vast. Is this level of spiritual growth even possible for us? Well, to answer that, we first need to get a really clear understanding of what this wisdom actually is.
So let's move into Act 1, the profound mystery, understanding essence and function. Okay, let's dive into this. Teacher Linming Shang gives us this absolutely brilliant analogy to help wrap our minds around the concept. He breaks wisdom down into two strictly inseparable parts, Ji and Hui. Think of Ji, your inherent mind, the pure essence, as the lamp itself, okay? Then you have Hui, which is the discriminative function of your mind, basically how it practically interacts with the world around you. Think of Hui as the light actually shining from the lamp. You literally cannot have the light without the lamp, and a lamp's entire purpose is to give light, right? They are completely inseparable. They operate in this state of absolute non-duality. And so where exactly does understanding this lead us? Well, it leads to a concept known as the eternal silent light Pure Land. Now listen closely to how the source material actually defines this. It describes it as being located at the deepest place in the brain. It's the inherent mind that is like empty space with absolutely no boundaries. Honestly, it's a stunning realization. This awe-inspiring ultimate Pure Land isn't some distant, unreachable galaxy light years away. According to this teaching, it's actually the deepest, truest state of your very own mind, just waiting to be uncovered. This brings us to Act 2, the steep mountains, the path of difficulty. So if this infinite wisdom is already inside us, how have the great masters traditionally tried to reach it? The source text outlines several profound traditional gates. You've got the Sutra of Perfect Enlightenment, which teaches cultivating perfect stillness to illuminate illusions. Then there's the Scripture of Purity and Stillness, talking about constantly responding to this complex world while remaining perfectly still on the inside. The Sixth Patriarch's Platform Sutra famously instructs us to not think of good or evil at all. And in Zen Master Zhaozhou's tradition, you have the Wu or No barrier, which requires a total conceptual breakthrough. Now, these teachings are undeniably beautiful, and they represent the absolute pinnacle of ultimate truth. So the crucial point is, while these paths are ultimate and perfect in their truth, the text makes a very grounded, honestly very relatable admission. For us ordinary beings, these traditional paths are intensely difficult to cultivate, difficult to enter, difficult to realize, and extremely difficult to attain. To borrow a metaphor, it's like they're incredibly steep mountains. And sure, while the view from the top is absolutely breathtaking, the sheer cliff faces are practically impossible for us to climb without slipping and falling right back down to where we started. Which leads us perfectly into Act 3, the safe bridge, the path of ease. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast it shows. The text tells us, hey, do not lose hope, because there is a profoundly compassionate solution specifically designed for ordinary beings living right now in our current era. Notice the difference between the difficult path and the easy path here. While the difficult path requires intense, highly disciplined, self-reliant Chan meditation to reach that state of no thought, the easy path, it simply asks for one sincere utterance of Amitabha Buddha's name. Instead of relying entirely on your own flawed self-power, you're relying completely on the Buddha's original vow power.
It takes a path that feels nearly impossible to realize and transforms it into a safe, sturdy bridge accessible to absolutely everyone, even those the texts refer to as the lowest grade of spiritual capacity. And the efficacy of this easy path? The text describes it as completely staggering. Just look at this number, 80 billion. The Contemplation Sutra actually states that for those at the lowest level, just one sincere utterance of the Buddha's name eradicates 80 billion kalpas of birth and death offenses. Now, a kalpa is an unfathomably long period of time in Buddhist cosmology. We're talking eons upon eons. So to put that into perspective, the text presents this single utterance not just as some small, tiny step forward, but as a monumental spiritual reset, powered entirely by the immense compassion of the Buddha. Now for Act 4, the Grand Unification, unifying Chan and Pure Land. The source makes it crystal clear that the easy path is not some lesser, secondary path. Not at all. Let's look at the actual mechanics of how this works. Step 1. You simply gather your scattered, chaotic mind into just one single recitation, Namo Amitabha Buddha. Step 2. By holding on to this, you allow this great name, which is said to contain 10,000 virtues, to penetrate directly into your 8 consciousnesses. That means it's reaching the very foundational layer of your mind. And step 3. Over time, the Buddha's light constantly shines within you, subtly and seamlessly merging with your own inherent eternal silent light. It brilliantly uses the super simple action of reciting to effortlessly achieve the profound reality of no thought. It's exactly like the ancient virtuous ones perfectly summarized. Chan and Pure Land are not two. The 10,000 dharmas are one suchness, Amitabha Tathagata. I mean, just take a second to appreciate the depth of that phrase, one suchness. It basically means there is absolutely no separation. All the seemingly diverse schools, the intricate meditation techniques, all those complex philosophies, they ultimately unify into this single highly effective practice of name recitation. The text is arguing that it's this incredibly elegant, unified solution that's perfectly tailored for our modern capacities and limitations. Let's move to Act V, the ultimate rescue, Amitabha as our life-saving benefactor. And this brilliantly illustrates how the abstract philosophy transforms into something deeply, deeply personal. The text paints a picture of our exact situation. For us, ordinary beings, reality often feels a lot like drowning in this bitter sea of birth and death, right? We're constantly weighed down by heavy karma, facing all this terrifying uncertainty at the end of life. But in this tradition, Amitabha Buddha acts as the ultimate lifebuoy for the drowning, a shining lighthouse in pitch-black darkness. His 48 great vows are described as these powerful, specific promises designed specifically to pull us out of that bitter sea and guide us safely back to shore. Bodhisattva Nagarjuna, who is known as the first patriarch of the Pure Land school in the West, provides a truly profound guarantee based on this teaching. He notes Amitabha's vow, saying, "If a person thinks of me and recites my name, taking refuge, he will immediately enter the stage of assurance and attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi." Now, entering the stage of assurance, that means you will no longer fall back into delusion. You don't have to be flawless. You definitely don't have to be some ascetic meditation master. You simply have to sincerely take refuge in that powerful name. And by taking this path, that seemingly abstract, distant goal of the eternal silent light, it suddenly becomes incredibly practical for you right here, right now. As the text states, by relying completely on the Buddha's power rather than your own, you can actually attain peace, true joy, and good health in this very life. And at the end of life, the promise is that you are joyfully received into the land of ultimate bliss. You escape that grueling, endless cycle of rebirth forever, and from there, you swiftly realize complete, unsurpassed enlightenment. It's a total game changer. The unfathomable wisdom of the Buddha is vast. There's no doubt about that. But the text emphasizes that the method to reach it has been made incredibly simple and accessible for every single one of us. According to this teaching, the lifebuoy has already been thrown into the turbulent sea of birth and death, and Amitabha Buddha is waiting. So the only question this powerful explainer leaves us with is, will you reach out and hold on? Really think about that. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time.